I think for Comcast shareholders, not being the most indebted company in the history of American business is probably a positive for Comcast. I mean, they paying all cash and borrowing all this money, I don't think is a great move for them financially.
So you think the market's saying that Disney wins today, and so why is Disney rallying?
Well, Disney's rallying because this makes Disney the most powerful company in Hollywood, and it gives them all the IP they need to have a killer streaming service to compete with Netflix and bring the company into the digital era in a very robust manner.
Ross, last week, Disney shares started rallying when it looked like Comcast might win. So that's why it's amazing to me. Investors seem to be saying, you know what, we seem to love every possibility right now with any of these companies.
I don't know if Disney was rallying because of the Comcast bid. I'm not sure. All the media stocks were kind of rallying last week, which I was fine with. But I think, Disney's incredibly undervalued as a stock, and I think what Comcast now needs to come up with another $10 billion to beat the bid and has to make up for being an all-cash offer, because we assume that Disney stock's worth $125 to $140 in our valuation. So if I'm a Fox shareholder, which I am, I want my 50% in at least Disney stock, because in the end, when we look back in a couple years, there's a lot more value going to be created by Disney being a steward of these assets than Comcast.
Teague, what's your take on what happens from here? Do you think it's fair to say that this deal overall makes a bit more sense to Disney than it does to Comcast, and therefore Comcast shouldn't really bid too much higher?
Yeah, it's interesting right now because as a Comcast and a Disney shareholder, it's like watching our two kids fight over the same toy. It's like, Trevor, Nicole, stop it. But in all seriousness, I mean, it just validates the idea that the media conglomerate has changed so much, and content is really king, and content is very valuable. So if you think about Disney and their ability to monetize intellectual property over a wide platform, it really does make more sense to bring these assets in-house to Disney. And if you think about it, Disney already has a Pandora or an Avatar world in Disney World. They're already using Spider-Man and the Avengers, so they've already proven the ability to monetize these assets better than Fox can. So in reality, it's probably a better home overall for them just because of that broad platform and their history of being able to monetize IP over changing media over the course of time.
As a Comcast shareholder, would you be shocked if they upped their bid significantly and maintained it as being all cash? Was it already suggesting they were going to be too indebted with the last bid?
Yeah, I would be surprised if they didn't sweeten it a little bit and put a portion of it in stock. But I would not be surprised at all if they did, in fact, bid above the Disney bid. It's a realization from Comcast's standpoint that they need to evolve with the times. There's so much of their revenue comes from internet service providing, and they need to have more of a content library and better able to monetize across multiple platforms like Disney. I mean, it's been long said that Comcast has a bit of a mouse envy, and so this move kind of brings them closer to what an overall Disney company looks like.
Well, they tried to trap the mouse about a decade ago. Ross, just going back to the point you made about how you'd rather own Disney shares, Comcast would say, look, we've outperformed Disney. If you take a longer-term view of things, and they want the international assets and think those would be, a better fit for the business model. So would that, is that option not something that looks remotely attractive to you?
First of all, I don't think Comcast has outperformed Disney over the last 10 years. I'm not sure exactly the numbers, but Disney's had a great run. I think the bigger issue is Comcast stock is very, very cheap. So if they use stock, it's even cheaper than Disney's. It's very detrimental to the Roberts family's ownership stake. So, that's why they're using cash here. But I think if I'm the Murdoch family, why would I want cash when I want to maintain some power and control in Hollywood? And I can do that by having Disney shares in a board seat. So I really see the Comcast all-cash offer is a big detriment to Comcast, because if you don't give me stock in this combined deal, I'm kind of getting screwed. I mean, you want to own this combined deal no matter who gets them, but there's no question that Disney will be the better steward of the assets. It will be better for everybody. Comcast is just a desperate lover. It's like my ex-girlfriend from 10 years ago who won't leave me alone,
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.